Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. And to be honest, I didn't think I'd be back on Limitless so soon, but basically I can't get back onto TCG Live. Seems to be that same error code that's popping up, and I'm guessing that's going to be me locked out until whenever the next major update is, which is extremely disappointing. I'm very disappointed in TCG Live at this point. I've been very generous, I would say, in my positivity towards it in the past, but yeah, very frustrating, and I don't see the devs taking it seriously and fixing the issue. So, yeah, probably the death of the channel, not gonna lie, but we'll move on and we'll look at some Limitless events. And this one is a 171 player event called Redacted Forces. Now, this was Temporal Forces legal, as you can see from the deck icons. And I kind of just wanted to take a look through this event and see what people were playing. Now, I'm not going to say this is an extremely accurate representation of the format overall, but then again, there's no real way to measure how cool the format is without just, asking every single player to fill out a survey and hope they're honest. So at the end of the day, this is just kind of a fun look at what people thought was, I guess, tournament worthy and what people wanted to play. So the event was won by a Chen Pao deck, which we'll take a quick look at. I'm not going to go through every single list here, but I do think it's interesting that Chen Pao won the event because for me personally, Chen Pao wasn't looking like it was going to be that good post-rotation. In fact, does this deck actually gain anything significant? So they are playing the Iron Bundle, which is cool, but he Poffin for Friggabacks, I guess. Actually, let's just look at the image. It's a bit easier. But yeah, I honestly didn't think Chen Pao was going to be much of a threat post-rotation, so it's interesting to see at least. I do like the addition of Prime Catcher in this deck, though. Like being able to just set up Iron Hands on the bench, not have to promote it, and then use Prime Catcher is quite nice. But overall, yeah, nothing really too wild about this list, actually. But yeah, Chen Pao's like one of those decks where I've always thought it was good, but, it's obviously not great. It's definitely not on the same tier as Zard and Lugia. I guess we can have a look at the whole top four, but yeah, the thing is with Zard is, well, I'm kind of like in two minds about whether or not I like playing Zard, because on the one hand, it can be very fun, but on the other hand, it just feels like you're playing a completely different game sometimes, Like whenever I play against Charizard, it doesn't feel fair that my opponent can just wreck Andy Zard and put 3 energy into play. It seems like kind of broken, so yeah, it doesn't really feel great to lose to Zard. Of course, like the new Maxim belt has definitely been a massive help to this deck, so you can't really like cheat the prize race against them, which is annoying. But either way, a very, very strong deck moving forward. Would be wise to get good with Charizard. So it doesn't actually look like Ogerpon will be completely broken and kind of push Zard out of the meta, so it's interesting to see that at least. But yeah, although I still think Ogerpon will see a decent amount of play when it drops. I don't think it will be the same level as Oppression, I guess, as Zard. So yeah, as long as Ogerpon is at least moderately decent, it's still pretty healthy for the game. But yeah. Lugia, a deck that has seen a ton of play on the ladder. There's been a lot of debate online about whether or not Lugia is like the BDF post rotation or whatnot. I personally don't think Lugia is, just because you can't really guarantee the Archeops like on the same level as you could previously, but still pretty cool. You also play like Jock to find 2 Archeops, which you can then Ultra Ball away, which is quite cool. 1 Master Ball definitely helps the list out quite a bit, but honestly, these decks are like fairly boring. I mean, we've kind of seen them all before, previously, even before Paradox Rift, these decks were seeing play, so without like the new additions being factored in, I guess, they're honestly not that interesting, and be nice to see some more of the new decks doing well in these events. But naturally, people, of course, are playing decks that they hope to do well with and have probably had a lot of practice with anyway, so it does kind of make sense. Now, I think this is not the exact same list, but certainly based on the list that was doing well over in Japan, I want to say. I think that deck might have been playing extra Heavy Baton, extra Town Store. But yeah, this is a Turbo Iron Hands deck, which is probably going to be the best version of Future Box, which is kind of interesting to me personally. I thought Future Box would be able to stand on its own 2 feet, but it does seem like cheating prize cards is the way to go. And even though Iron Hands requires an absolutely whopping 4 energy, we can use Maridon to set up, and we also have Heavy Baton. So I'd be interested to try this deck out. If I can ever get back onto TCG Live, I'd definitely like to try this one out because honestly, Iron Hands is a good card, but it doesn't feel as nearly as obnoxious as like ADP did, for example. Like ADP was broken on many fronts. I don't think Iron Hands is, especially not with 230 HP, which sounds like a lot, but it is pretty easy to remove every turn. So yeah, cool list though. Now, was there anything else that really stood out? Unfortunately, in top 8, the only other deck that stands out really is Dialga Matang. Now, I think this event took place like way before LDF posted his video, so this probably won't be LDF's own list, but this will be... Okay, well, wait, what? Bascu Legion? That's interesting. I would have thought like Bascu Legion would be a bit risky, just being a one prize Pokemon that you would... Well, I guess maybe it's used there to kind of like skewer the prize race. So you can kind of like force your opponent to KO 2 Dialga, and then KO Bascu Legion, and then maybe a third Dialga, or have them boss up Mew or something, but interesting nonetheless. Also playing the Metagross with emergency entry, definitely don't see that every day. It's a very cool list actually, I do respect this one. Got Technical Machine Evolution as well to help out a bit with evolving. And 4 Arvins, so yeah, that was another thing I noticed in the previous Zard build, was playing like 4 Arvin. It's interesting. But yeah, it's a pretty cool list overall. Glad to see Dialga make a bit of a comeback after Palkia has kind of been the more dominant of the two. But yeah, that's kind of it for top 8. Lost Box Charizard. I mean, we don't need to take a look at that, do we? It's basically just... Wait, is this a Radiant Charizard or Charizard EX? Because I know they are two very different decks. Okay, this is Radiant Zard. Radiant Zard, are you playing anything interesting? Not really. 2 Roxanne, actually. So there you go, 10 types. Roxanne is pretty good. But yeah, 1 Technical Machine, Crisis Punch, Prime Catcher, makes sense. I'll get the image up in case you want to take a picture or whatever, but... I mean, I like Radiant Zard, but the deck just doesn't feel as good as like the previous amazing rare versions of the deck. Like Reshiram. I'm talking about Reshiram, by the way. The amazing rare Reshiram that did like 270 for 3 different energy. It was clunky as anything, but it was a lot of fun. But yeah, Radiant Charizard. Pretty fun deck, not playing Radiant Greninja, but then again, like so many decks have space for Manaphy. It just feels kind of bad to lean into Greninja most games, but yeah. Also, I just kind of like Radiant Charizard. Just big Pokemon, do big damage kind of thing, but just personal preference. Then we see another Charizard list. Arceus Giratina, to be honest, kind of expected this deck to be pretty good. Although, yeah, because I thought this deck lost Judge to rotation for some reason, forgetting that Judge was reprinted in the Scarlet and Violet base set. But yeah, I kind of thought this deck would be pretty decent, of course, thanks to Iron Leaves hitting weakness on Charizard, but Charizard doesn't seem to be huge in this event. But then again, you can only use Iron Leaves once against Charizard, really, because it takes up all your grass energy. Then you have to KO Zard with either Star Requiem or Lost Impact with a maximum belt, Requiem or something. I know pronunciations are weird, but yeah, people get like really shifty online for some reason if you don't pronounce things right, but yeah. That is Arctina. Pretty cool list overall. I kind of like Arctina. It's pretty easy to play, fairly straightforward. I know it's not a good measure of how fun a deck is, but for me it is sometimes. Okay, what is this deck? Because it's not listed as anything in special. So, is this Control? I think this is Control. Yeah, this looks like Control. So this is like a Pidgeot Control deck with Wigglytuff and Mawile and Chi-Yu. This is very strange. Definitely not as good as regular Snorlax block, but certainly an interesting control list if I ever did see one. I didn't know this was a thing, really. I'd heard of Pidgeot Control from All About Blitzel, but I never realized Wigglytuff would be under consideration. It's interesting. Yeah, interesting control list. Is there anything else? Snorlax Stall, we've seen that a million times. Arceus Vulpix. How does this deck look post-rotation? Because I don't think this deck would be, like, massively impactful. Okay, they're playing an Eri. Or Eerie. 1 Hero's Cape, yeah, that makes sense. Just makes him a lot tankier, so you can't, like, want to kill Vulpix with Gouging Fire. 2 Lost City, that's interesting. So yeah, I guess it's all about removing Gouging Fire. because Gouging Fire is what Zard could use to destroy Vulpix, but I guess if you can stop that, then, you know, you do pretty well. Also, top 24 Goldengo list, may as well share that, and that is Great Tusk Mill. I feel like there was one or two other decks that were interesting. We've got some Future Hand stuff. There is a Future Box deck there. Was there a better placing Future Box deck? And do we look at Maridon? I don't think we did. Wait, what was this? Okay, this is weird. Okay, so this is kind of like a Turbo Maridon deck, which placed 16th. Okay, that's not terrible. So yeah, this is basically just Turbo Iron Hands with a 1/1 line of Regieleki, which is interesting. Like, I think Regieleki would be too much of a liability these days, being a 3-prizer, but who am I to say that? 1 Zapdos is nice. Do like Zapdos. Prime Catcher again. Yeah, definitely the most important one for this deck. 1 Heavy Baton. And 3 copies of Energy Sticker. Alright, interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how good this deck is realistically without Fluffy. Like, I've known some people who just absolutely despise Maridon because of how inconsistent Generator can be, but with the new Codebreakers Deciphering kind of card, then surely Generator could be a bit better, but maybe that's just too awkward to set up. I don't know. The format feels weird. Like, it feels slow enough for many decks to survive in Cobe, but at the same time, like, you can't just spend a turn using a supporter that would, you know, choose 2 cards from your deck and put them on top and then play a Generator. Like, the format's too fast for something like that, which feels weird, you know. But yeah, we have the Goldengo list. 2/2 line of Scizor. It's nice. I do like me some Scizor action. The list itself, though, for Pokemon and trainers, actually, let's get the image up. Might as well, right? Makes it a bit easier to read. Poffin. Poffin's new. I like Poffin. Prime Catcher, of course. Rigid Band is... Actually, do you need Rigid Band, realistically? I don't think you do, but... Yeah, Rigid Band's interesting. I wonder what that's here for. Yeah, that's going to sit with me for a while, actually. Why is Rigid Band here? Well, so this is the first Future Box that did well in the event. Kind of like narrowly missing out top 24. So we can have a look at that. There's a Roaring Moon list and... Okay, other. I guess we can have a look at other. Ooh, a Spathra. That's very saucy. They went 5-3-0, so not amazing, but you know, 5 wins, not terrible. Not terrible for a Spathra, to be honest. Mewtwo EX, quite cool. I do like Mewtwo. 2 Mimikyu, yep, definitely need 2 Mimikyu. If you always play Mimikyu, you have to play 2 of them, really. Definitely helps. That single prize of Spathra, I'm not sure I agree with the split of 2-2. I think it's always 1-3, really, but I guess it worked out for them for the most part. Patrol Cap, that's interesting. I'm guessing that's like anti-Great Tusk, because Great Tusk is like really easy to play. So honestly, there's not actually been a lot of Great Tusk do well in this event, which is interesting. There's only the single one in top 24. Is there any more Great Tusk? There's a bit more there. Yeah, that's strange. That's very strange, actually. Yeah, this was the Spathra deck, and then what was this? Oh yeah, Future Box. This is a deck that I thought would actually be pretty good, but I think, oh, okay, Iron Boulder, that's bold. Yeah, it's very bold, no pun intended. But yeah, to be honest, Future Box might just suffer from the fact that you can't really keep energy in play outside of like EXP, Share, and Heavy Baton. And then it gets awkward because you're trying to make room for capsules as well, and like all these different basic energy. So yeah, I think it looks like a lot of fun to play, but at the same time, it's just really awkward to keep energy actually in play. And Reboot Pod is good, but it's only getting 1 energy back to each of them. So yeah, probably quite awkward to keep the energy in play, and you have to like cheese wins with Iron Valiant. Oh, Iron Hands, I should say. But yeah, interesting list nonetheless. Do we have anything else of noteworthy? We have an other list as well. We may as well take a look at these in case there's something cool. I'll get the other one up as well. And then I think, okay, this might just be, yeah, this is literally the list we looked at. Okay, which one was this then? This, okay, this looks spicy. Okay, this is cool actually. Yeah, this is really cool. Okay, this is like Scizor Aegislash, but it has like a lot of deck text. Yeah, I've got like Luxray and got Gengar in here to give your active Pokemon free retreat. I quite like that actually, because Bibarel is such a liability I've found in games. Like, You'd be surprised the amount of games you can lose just because your opponent realizes, oh wait, you're out of switch, boss be barrel, and then you're just stuck there. But yeah, you don't have enough energy really to move be barrel. And this deck isn't playing any switching cards actually, so yeah, that is a bit risky, but I do like this list. So you could like Red Candy Gengar up and then assume your opponent won't want to waste a boss on a Gengar, then you know you can just have Big Barrel as a pivot, which is nice. Yeah, definitely a very cool list. Would be interested in trying that one out for sure. Also, with the Pidgeot V, this deck is very like anti-mill, I guess. Maybe they were sick of Snorlax control, but yeah, is there any other like saucy, spicy decks that we can have a look at? Oh yeah, Torterra. Okay, yeah. Honestly, I didn't really have much faith in Torterra going into the new set, or Incineroar or EX for that matter, but a lot of people were interested in them. So, you know, I didn't want to, you know, ruin the fun or like, I guess I still wanted to have faith in the decks, right? You know, I still was rooting for Torterra, but at the same time, the deck just doesn't really throw out enough damage, and 340 HP, in theory, sounds great. But if everything can 2 KO you anyway, you know, what's the point of having 340 HP over, you know, 280 per se? So, yeah, Torterra, it's still pretty good against single price decks that can't really throw out a lot of damage in the early game. You know, like Cloth, Dondozo, what's the other one? United Wings. And even the new Ancient Box actually can't really throw out a lot of damage in the early game, so you'd be pretty good against them. But yeah, it's a cool deck, and you do have that healing factor from Whimsicott, which is strictly worse Max Potion, but we don't have a Max Potion reprint just yet. Probably won't get one for a while now. But yeah, it's an interesting list, but sadly Torterra just pretty underwhelming. Bit of a shame though. I do believe though that was there's another deck here. And okay, we can probably have a look at Gengar. Can't get it to there we go. And then I won't go through everything. I'll leave a link to Limitless in the description if you want to take a look at all of these, but we'll look at Garchomp as well. So, okay, Wugtrio. I mean, I like Wugtrio, but online, I mean, it's so flippant, you know? It's just like some games you'll just get nothing but tails, other games it's triple heads and you feel sorry for your opponent, but, you know, it's cool. I like stuff like Erica's Invitation. It's cool to see. Luminion and Spidops feel a bit like a liability. You know, I don't think this deck should be concerned about trapping things with a high retreat cost, you know. I think you're probably better off just going for like counter catcher and then, you know, hopefully they can't move basically. But yeah, it is smart to play grass and double turbo. So I guess you can attack with Spidops if you want to, and also use undersea tunneling before using reversal, so that's cool. But yeah, interesting deck. And then we have this Gengar list, which went 3-3-0 and then dropped, which is, you know, fair enough. It's Gengar. Still a very cool list. It's kind of how you'd imagine, very straightforward. Giovanni's Charisma. Wow, I'm surprised I'm not the only one that thought about that. But yeah, Giovanni's Charisma. It's a cool idea, but yeah, it might be just a wee bit too slow, but it's cool though. I like to see this being tried out. I might give this a go if I can ever get back onto live, you know. Be very cool to try out Gengar. I do really like Gengar as a Pokemon, but lately his cards have been pretty bad. Like the one from 151 was alright, but probably not good enough to make it your own deck about it. But yeah, it's cool to see Gengar being used at least. And this was the Garchomp deck. I see a Staryu in there and a Starmie. Which Starmie is that? Okay, that's interesting. So there's a Starmie. Yeah, Starmie's unusual. So Starmie allows you to, is it discard it or discard this? Yeah, discard this Pokemon. Okay, so you have to discard Starmie and you can place 2 damage counters anywhere you want. Also, what is this? 2 Extra as well? Okay, that's kind of cool. So you use Drillbur to put the energy in the bin and then you attack with Extra. That's interesting. See, this is the kind of stuff that I like to see in events. Just people thinking outside the box. You know, who thought of using Excadrill with Garchomp? You know, we all thought of using Drillbur. But what about Excadrill, you know? That's cool. Also tosses out 180. That's quite nice. So, yeah, very cool Garchomp list. And was there anything else of noteworthy interest? Probably not really. Got a Raging Bolt, crikey. Who was it that said like Raging Bolt was going to be S tier? I swear someone said that. guess we can have a look at Raging Bolt. I don't think there was another list that did really well. So Hisuian Zoroark, everyone's saying this deck is broken. Only one player played it in the whole event or something. Crazy. And Ancient Box not actually doing very well in this event. Quite surprising to me, personally. Some Solar Rock Lunatone doing better than these guys. It's quite funny. But yeah, this event's interesting, though. It is quite cool to see. Apart from, top 8, which is pretty predictable, with, some rare exceptions. I think most of the tournament's pretty cool. Okay, so is this Lost Zone, then? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So it's like Lost Zone to power up Raging Bolt. Yeah, I guess, but the problem with this deck is you need so much energy all the time. Like, even this deck is only playing 3 Sada. I mean, you have to play 4 Colorus to actually get to Mirage Gate, but it just feels really awkward because you have to choose between, which one do you prioritize. I guess it's just whichever you have in hand at the time that you play, but yeah, I don't know. It feels weird. I can kind of see why this would be good in Lost Box because of, Amazing Rare Rayquaza was really good, but that was also a single prizer. And I think that was doing more damage anyway. That was doing 80 times, wasn't it? Was Rayquaza 80 times or was it 70 times? I can't remember. But yeah, Raging Bolt. I don't know. I don't know about this card. It needs a lot of energy to do things. It feels a bit weak. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared of Raging Bolt. But yeah, it's been an interesting video, interesting tournament. Let me know what you think down below. This is obviously a far more laid back, kind of casual look at things. Probably said some controversial things, but let me know what you think down below. Do you enjoy this style of content? And yeah, thank you for watching.